What's up, YouTube? It's Adam Grover, Grover Boys Racing. I told you guys when I did the motor out of the 55, I'd update you guys and, let you guys see it. I got a little bit of a dilemma. So, this is our bottom end out of the 55. And I was going to race it with this engine how it was when I got it. And I drove the car. It was in a museum in Philly. And you can see that on my Facebook. If you're friends with me, you're already seeing it. But I drove it back and it started leaving oil in my driveway. And I had a problem with the trans, getting stuck in second gear, wouldn't come out of second. So I kept missing third gear and thought it might have been a shifter linkage issue. And then I pulled the trans out, which is actually right there, all apart. And found out that the slider was getting stuck. So I got to fix that, rebuild it. I'm probably going to end up putting a 5-speed in it. That's where I'm at, because I want to be able to drive this thing, around and not have the thing wound 50 mile an hour at 3,000 RPM. I'd like to have it overdrive. But this engine, I decided to pull it out because I figure I'll put a rear main seal in it, and I'll just put my combo together now and get it done. So I yanked the motor out of it and I pulled the heads and all off, and I noticed it had these pistons in it. You can see I cleaned this one up. And I got some part numbers off of it, and a guy on my Facebook mentioned that it looked like it had aftermarket pistons in it. And I had a couple people tell me, nah, they're stock. They came in truck motors or whatever the case may be. So, after I looked it up, they're worse than stock. I figured it probably had around, with these heads that they had on it with the small chamber, because I think they're 58cc chamber, the power pack heads, if I'm not mistaken. And with the piston being down in the cylinder, because the block isn't decked or anything, these are roughly maybe 9-1. So it got me to start looking into stuff, and I calculated a couple things, and it's not going to be where I want it as far as the compression goes. It's going to be down under 10-1 for sure. So when I was figuring stuff out, I figured it out off of what a stock piston would be, which is a little bit better than what these are. And it depends on the chamber of the head, but I figured I could probably get it up into like the 10.5-1 compression range with using a thin gasket, heads milled, all the tricks you can do to try to get the most out of what you have. So, that being said, probably going to end up putting pistons in it, because at the end of the day, this isn't a stock bottom end anymore, because it has aftermarket piston. Even though they're a stock rebuild piston, it's still an aftermarket piston. That's how honest I am. I could say, yeah, it's a stock bottom end, and just go about my day, cut these valve reliefs a little deeper in here, and, toss it together. But it would actually, one, hinder performance, and two, if I got to tell people that it has a piston in it, it might as well as have a piston in it. Three, if I tell you guys that, yeah, this motor has pistons in it, some of the guys that don't know and haven't watched my past videos, they're going to assume that I put these pistons in it. So then when the car goes 1150s, because it's 9-1 compression, with the way these heads and stuff are done, it'll be a mutt. The car will just be dead with it that low. That's if I can get it to 9-1. I don't think I'd be able to even maybe get that. From what I was looking up, they said that these are like 8.5. So by the time you do the gasket, all the tricks, you know, you might get a full point out of it if you're lucky. So I still got to measure the CC and the heads. I just got those back from my dad. It turned out pretty good. Got to do some stuff to them, clean them up, you know, go through them, regrind the valves back in them, all that. And then this thing, probably going to end up putting crank rods and pistons in it. A buddy of mine has a whole kit for 350 that hopefully I can just throw in here. And, you know, it's all used stuff. He said one piston needs to be swapped out. But I gotta see how bad that is. If I can save it, I might try to use it. That's if I can sell some stuff and get the money up to buy it. What I'm trying to do is part whatever I can out of this, like the intake. I just got another intake that basically didn't cost me anything. So I'm going to put that for sale. I sold the cam out of this. That was $125. So it's starting to pay me back a little bit, but it's going to go right back into this. So hopefully I can break out even where I don't have any more money into it. Or if I do, it's only like $100. But I'm trying to keep as budget as possible, sell what I can off of it and out of it. You know, make every little dollar count. So he told me a pretty fair price for the bottom end, for the crank rods and pistons. So it's already balanced. So it's just, I could toss it in, new rings, new bearings, and send it and be good. So that's what we're going to try to shoot for with that. And try to get it back together. I might try to change the camshaft. Because if I can fit a bigger cam, I might go bigger because I think the heads will... I think they're capable of using a mid 600 lift cam, where the one I have right now is just below 600. I think it's 596. So, you know, I want to try to get as much as I can out of what I got. And if I'm going to do it, might as well as do it. So, like I said, if I got to put pistons in it, might as well as put a decent piston in it. So I think they were flat tops, so I should be able to get the compression I want out of that if the chambers are where I need them to be. But it's kind of upsetting because I really wanted to do this with a stock bottom end and show you guys, you know, take junk and make it run, which this could run decent, but it's going to be just at a disadvantage. I mean, when you're putting something worse than stock together, you know, if it was stock, I'd do it. You know, even if I figured out it's going to be like 10-1, 10.5, it's like, okay, you know, it's still stock bottom end. It is what it is at that point. But being that it has a piston in it, it's just really discouraging for me. Some people would say, it's stock replacement piston, send that thing, who cares, you know? But for me, like I said, if it's under, for one, a disadvantage, for two, it is aftermarket. So that's where we're at, though. Car is all torn apart. It's been cold here, so I haven't done too much. We're going to get this block where it's cleaned up. And then after I buy the bottom end stuff, I'll probably rip the bottom end out of it. Excuse me. Probably rip the bottom end out of it, buy rings, bearings, put all that kit in this. If I gotta buy a piston, I'll buy a piston. Do all that. And then get the engine where it's together and ready to go back in the car. I gotta rebuild the Muncie. I want to sell that. And, you know, try to sell a couple other things that I have that I don't need. And hopefully come up with the money to put a 5-speed in it. If I can get the shifter and stuff to sit where I need it to sit in the car. So, it's going to be a lot with this car. Hopefully, it's not down, too long, because I would like to really get this thing together where I can enjoy it this year. It's kind of discouraging that I couldn't just run it this next up and coming season. I thought I was really starting to make headway, and this is a really big setback. So I'm actually pretty upset about it. I was looking forward to seeing what the car ran with how it sat and seeing what it picked up with what I did. But, I guess things happen for a reason, and it is what it is. So this is where we're at, though, with it. I wanted to give you guys an update because it's been a while since I talked about the car. And, that's pretty much it. So I got to put a fuel system in it, put the ignition in it. That's all stuff I'm probably going to do meanwhile. I think I'm going to put a fuel cell in it, get rid of the stock tank. I was going to sump it at first, but I don't feel like really dealing with that, so I might just try to sell the stock tank out of it and buy an eBay fuel cell that I like to use, put that in there, cut some stuff out of the trunk that I saw back there I didn't like, and refinish the trunk, and then put carpet in it, wire the car, like I said, the fuel system, the ignition system, get all that stuff done before I put this motor and trans back in it. I got control arms. I'd like to get those on it, tubular ones. Very heavy. That was another discouraging thing that I bought, but it'll at least look nicer when I tilt the nose open and stuff. So, at least look good, I guess, but heavy. Thought I might lose like 5 pounds. Not even. I'm actually probably adding weight. I'll probably weigh that stuff. If you guys want to see that, let me know. I'll post it and show you guys that too. If you want to see some weight stuff. But, that's just some stuff I'd like to do and see how it all ends up. So, if any of you guys need some parts, small block Chevy, Muncie stuff. Bottom end was good. Somebody needs crank rods and pistons. I mean, you probably knock the pistons off, change them. But all this stuff be for sale. Pretty cheap. Water pump and stuff. If you need some basic stuff, I'll sell it. I got the stock. I don't know if it's stock, but it's a mechanical fuel pump. That looked on the newer side. It worked well, but I'm not using it. Got an HEI distributor, the water pump with the fan, timing chain and gear, the front cover for the cam drive. Got some stuff that I'm going to be putting up for sale. So if you guys see it here, hit my Facebook up or leave a comment and we'll figure out a way to connect. And, the stuff's going to be pretty cheap. I'm not asking, top dollar for stuff like that. Like if I could pull, maybe 150, 200 bucks out of this crank rods and pistons because they are good. And they put some rings and bearings. You got a nice little fresh 350 for pretty cheap. So, yeah, just pretty much what's going on here. So I'm gonna wrap this up. Stay tuned, and I guess see where we end up. Hopefully this year I can make a pass with this thing. It'd be nice if I could make a full pass, whether it be the street, track, wherever. As long as it's not out on the front road here, I'd like to be able to make a full quarter-mile pass with the draggy or something and see what it goes. But some fun out of the car would be nice, other than car shows, because that gets old for me. It's a good time, but not my. It's fun to do with the family, but it's not what I like to do, if that makes sense. Like, I enjoy it, but it's, I like the race and stuff. That's what the car to me is about. So that's where it's important for me to be able to drive it, race it, and then the leisure of it going to a car show will be nice with the family. But I really want to race this thing, so hopefully this is the year. So I've been pretty upset, honestly, discouraged over it. 'Cause I haven't had a car together for, over a year now, so it's a little disappointing. But I guess it is what it is. So see if we can get this thing together and done, and along with all the other crap that I have to do around here. So, you guys have a good one. I'm going to talk to you. Good luck with your stuff. Hopefully, you guys get out, have some fun. I'll talk to you.